Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Owl Brightspace homepage for your Western Visual Arts AQ course. I'm here to show you some areas where you're going to need to be able to access for the course and just a little housekeeping overall just before you kind of get started with your AQ course. So when you come to your homepage, it looks a little something like this, depending on what your AQ is that you're taking. I will be instructing part one and specialist honor specialist this summer. So depending on what AQ course you're in, you should only be able to see the one you registered for. If you can see multiple, please let me know and I can fix that for you. So when you land on your homepage, it should look a little something like this. I'm going to kind of go into the announcements first. So announcements are located in several places. The first place you can look is right here under announcements on the right-hand side of the page. This particular announcement is the welcome announcement that I ended up pinning to the course homepage just because it has a lot of important dates and housekeeping information on it. You will also be getting all announcements via email. So when I post under announcements, it automatically sends you an email that's the duplicate of what I kind of post on here, just so that it's easy for you to access everything. I also posted a get to know me page so you can obviously get to know me as your instructor throughout the summer. And then I also have some important kind of timelines for July, which I'm going to dive more into in a minute when I show you the discussion section of Brightspace. As we continue to scroll down, I also want to make note that you do have a calendar for this course as well. You can access it different ways. The first way is just by looking at it like this, having important dates. Once again, part one people only see part one information. Honor specialists will only see their information. So there should be lists of when things are accessible and when they close. So for this particular course, there are opening and closing of discussions, assignments, things like that. So it is important that you do follow the timeline set for the course. And it is a very fast-paced course in the summer versus in any other time of the year. So it's really important that you keep on top of all the timelines. You can also click the calendar button here, and if I go to July, everything that has a due date on it is kind of highlighted by this little circle here. So when you click on it, it should kind of go right to that section. So as you can see here, on the 9th, Part 1, Module 2 discussion forum is open from July 9th to July 16th. So this is also, your calendar is also available under calendar as well. So if you scroll up and click on calendar, this kind of makes everything a little bit bigger for you so that maybe it's a bit easier to see. And then once again, once you hover over something, it does give you more details on what you have to do. You can also access um, you can also access announcements under communications and announcements right here if you want to have kind of a bigger screen view of the announcements that you see on the course homepage and that you get to via email as well. So far we've clicked on course home, calendar, and then under communications, we've talked about announcements. I'm going to go to content now. So if you click on content, content is all the information you will need for your particular AQ course. So I will talk about part one, which it looks quite similar to part two, or sorry, quite similar to honors specialist in terms of the setup. So when you click on part one, the syllabus is right there for you. Very important that you read the syllabus. I'm not going to go into huge depth about the syllabus because we're all, educated individuals. We can read the syllabus on our own. But I do want to make note that there are quick links here for different policies that you might want to access depending on how the month goes. So for example, if you're ill or you get sick or something like that happens, there is a section that talks about accommodations for medical illnesses. So if you do have questions regarding something like that, you would just go onto the syllabus, click on it, see what it has to say, and then obviously, if your question's not answered there, you can reach out to me and we can figure something out. But there are a plethora of resources under the syllabus. So the syllabus also has a lot of other information. Some key things I want to touch on are like the course distribution. So discussions are worth 40, assignments are worth 30, and collaborative inquiry, which is your group project, is worth 30% of your final mark. Everything is going to be either pass or fail for this course. A pass is a 1 out of 1, a fail is a 0 out of 1. So just be cognizant that if you do get like a 0 out of 1, you did fail that particular discussion, assignment, what have you. And I typically reach out to candidates if they are failing multiple things, because obviously we don't want you to fail, we want you to succeed. But I just wanted to let you know that this is a pass or fail course. Excuse me. So those are the three mandatory components of your course: your discussions, your assignments, and your collaborative inquiry. I also do want to talk about your assignment expectations as well. It's really important that assignments are written in Times Roman double space 12-point font. This course also cites using APA, so that it's very important that when you're citing anything, you're not just copy and pasting a link to a website, that you are citing proper APA. And if you need help with that, there is a link at the top of the page showing you the APA outline guide for Western. If you continue to scroll, you'll look at the collaborative inquiry expectations, which there's multiple places that's located in the course as well, but this kind of dives deeper into it. And then as you scroll down, it shows all of the modules and their respected topics within said module. It also has all the links to all the websites, all the YouTube videos, and things like that. So everything pretty much matches depending on what module you're in. So that's the syllabus. Please read it over. Very important that you have a look at that. And then once again, all the course content for your discussion posts and your assignments is under here. So for part one, module one, you're going to click on that. It's going to have a brief little overview. It has a nice little to-do list. It has learning objectives, and then you're going to dive into your topics. So there's 5 topics per module, and there are 4 modules for your course. Each one of them is released, time released. So you won't be able to see module 2 until it's time for it to be released, and I'll go over timelines for you in a minute. But when you click on your topic, it should have all of the reading for that particular topic, any web links, any videos that you need to watch to support your answer for your either discussion or your assignment. And then what I also did at the bottom was just let you know for this particular topic, it's a discussion. I believe for this one, it's 4 that's an assignment. So if I click module 4, yep, as you can see, this particular one is an assignment, not a discussion post. So that is content and the syllabus. Now we're going to go into discussions where you would actually post your assignments and your discussion posts for your topics. So you want to go into communication, and you want to go to discussions, and all your discussion posts are right here. So before we go into the discussion posts, I do want to talk a little bit about the welcome form. So the welcome form, I would love everyone to participate and welcome and introduce themselves. There's some little kind of jump off points for you to kind of talk about yourself so that we can get to know everyone in the course, since this is asynchronous and we don't really have a face-to-face meeting. It is nice to kind of get to know people in this capacity, and people can kind of peruse on their own. So when you want to kind of do a post, a discussion, or anything like that, you're just going to click on it, and then you can just click start a new thread, and it should let you kind of have your subject and type things right there, nice and easy for you. As you can see, I already have a little bit of a post about myself. This is the exact same thing as I posted on the homepage, but I just wanted to post it here as an example. And then underneath that are the important dates that I talked about on the homepage that I'm going to dive into again. So I made 2 kind of templates for people to track and see when things are coming up, or when assignments, discussions, etc. are due. Just because as a visual learner myself, I really appreciate kind of seeing the month at a glance, just so I can pace myself appropriately. So as you can see, discussions are stars, assignments are circles, and then the CI projects are hearts. So everything in this course is due at 11:59 p.m. unless I state otherwise. But as you can see, module replies. So you replying to a classmate's discussion post are typically due on Tuesdays. I tried to make them as consistent as possible. And then your module post is due on Fridays. I did that because if you do your module one post on a Friday, then your classmates have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then they need to post by Tuesday. So it gives them time to kind of look over things and see what everyone else is kind of saying or taken something that was really interesting to them so they can post kind of a quality reply to you. If you don't like the layout of this and you want more concrete deadlines for things, I have this alternative template for you. I also put in the exact amount of days for each module, which I find helpful myself. Hopefully some of you find helpful. I just want you to be cognizant as well of the collaborative inquiry. Some of the collaborative inquiry modules require multiple steps. So for example, module two requires three separate tasks. So it's really important that you understand that, one component of that task is due on July 14th, but there's another one due on the 16th. So just keep that in mind. If you don't like how this is laid out, I also have it linked as a Google Doc. So you can't edit it or anything, but it just might be easier for you to view versus like a picture, what have you. There's also an FAQ section. So this is a great section to answer questions or ask questions, I should say, that you think everyone in the course would benefit from hearing. If you have a private or personal question, please email me alternatively, but I do check this section quite frequently. I would say once once a day, every other day minimum. So please feel free to post any questions that you think other people might benefit hearing the answers from. And then I also have a section that says resource sharing because throughout the course, I might be posting, you know, really cool PD, really interesting articles, little lessons or icebreakers or things like that. And alternatively, if you have some cool resources you'd like to share that pertain to visual arts, please feel free to do so there as well. So that's the top for the discussions. So I'll skip the collaborative inquiry for now, and I'll just go right down to like a module one discussion. So once again, there are timelines for this. So part one, module one is released on July 2nd, and it closes at July 9th at 11:59 p.m. And each discussion post section is fairly similar. So I talk about how, for the module, you want to post a response to each discussion question during the first half of the module. Your response should connect to the readings and course content, including the foundational resources, which I will show you in a second where those are. And it's important to, once again, to use proper citations, APA format. I just remind you of each post should be no longer than 500 words. Anything past that, it just gets really tedious and difficult to kind of keep up with giving really good feedback to that, especially since these are discussion posts, not assignments. So just make sure you are aware of that. So you're only going to be replying to one other person's posts per module. So for example, you're going to answer, I'm just going to expand this so that makes sense. So you're going to answer the question here. So you're going to do question one, you're going to do question two, you're going to do question three. We're going to skip this one for a second because that's the assignment. And then you're going to do question five. So you're going to do 4 discussion posts, and then you're going to read other people's discussion posts and critically reflect and answer one other person's in this section. So you might really like someone's discussion posts for question five. So you will do a comment, you will do a reply back to them, and you just want to make sure that it's around 300 words. If you go a little bit over, not the end of the world, but just make sure that you're not doing like 1,000 words or something like that. But you just need to reply to one. And once again, APA format for citations. As you saw in the discussions, you also have your assignment. So I made sure to indicate which one was an assignment by putting assignment in caps lock because I think it's really cool to collaborate and see what other people are doing for their larger assignments, especially like lesson plans or like setting up your arts class. What's the best way to set up an arts class to enhance learning? I think it's really cool to see these assignments and not have them in the assignment section of Brightspace because when you put anything in the assignment section, only I'm able to see it. So just make sure for your assignments that you are putting them here and that you're following what the expectations are for that particular assignment. And once again, pass fail. When you click on when you should be able to click on your feedback. I'm not able to show you that because no one's obviously posted yet, but you should be able to click on the rubric for your feedback for each assignment and discussion, and it should either say one or zero. I do try to give really extensive feedback on module one, just because it's your very first module. I want to make sure you're on the right track. Not to say I don't go into more feedback in other ones or don't do as good of a job. I just try to really kind of make sure that you have a lot of feedback for your first one so that we don't need a lot of feedback for the other ones because you get the message and everything is amazing. So that is your discussions. The CI section is right here as well. So for your CI section, once again, there's module one, two, three, and four. They're all time sensitive as well. And one thing I do want to note about this section is that I will be making groups based on your topic selection. So you do have to select a topic for your collaborative inquiry group. As you can see, you're going to be posting your first, second, and third choice. I'm pretty good, and a lot of the times I'm able to put you in your first or second choice with other people who obviously want that as their choice as well. The thing with Western is it's not supported by Google Docs or something like that. So if a lot of people love Google and they like doing the live collaboration on Docs, it's really important to that I'm seeing you participating with your group. So what I do is once I put you in your groups, I do make sections underneath here at the very bottom that will say your group name, and then it will also say the members of your group. And then you'll have this area under here that allows you to kind of talk back and forth with your group mates. If you do want to make a Google Doc or some sort of external app to talk to each other, just make sure that I can access it and I can see it, because that is part of your CI mark, that I'm able to see that you're collaborating and seeing who's doing what part of the project. That's when things get problematic, when I don't know who's doing what, and it's hard for me to assess who's doing what part of the project. The last thing I wanted to show you, I did forget to talk about foundational resources. So once again, going back into content. Oh, actually, one last thing before I leave the collaborative inquiry. The very last thing for collaborative inquiry that you have to do under section four, so module four, you do have to, for task two, you have to do an individual reflection. That's 3 to 4 pages. That is the only thing that you have to do under assessments and assignments. So it's the only thing that is fairly confidential in terms of assignment. So that's accessible there. So that's the very last reflection that you have to do. And then if you go under content, and you scroll down to collaborative inquiry instructions, your module four self-assessment instructions are right here. So this is the one that's under assessments and assignments, just so you know. And then all the CI information is here. All of this is also under your discussion section that I just showed you, but it's also here if you wanted to download the document version of it, if you found that helpful. So underneath your actual course, there's foundational resources. I do reference them throughout the course. So just to make note that they are here. And then there's also some other useful information here. So Western email setup and information, the Western library, and then also tech support. If you require tech support and need to put a ticket in if something's not working properly, feel free to reach out to me first. But if you wanted to put a ticket in because something's not working, you can also do it this way as well. So I believe that's all I wanted to share with you today. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can once again put it in the FAQ section, or you can email me privately. I know this was a lot of information, but the nice thing about videos are you can pause, play things, and kind of watch them over again. But I hope this is useful for you. And once again, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm here to support you. Looking forward to the summer.